Imagine being evicted from your home with nowhere to go. Now, imagine that a simple act of kindness could transform not just one life, but an entire community. Josh is on the brink of despair, about to lose everything, when the unexpected generosity of a family changes the course of his life. The story begins with Josh, a humble man, confronted by his landlord, Mr. Andrews, who gives him 24 hours to pay the overdue rent or face eviction. Desperate and out of options, Josh tries to keep hope alive. In parallel, Martha, a woman also struggling financially, finds a way to put food on the table thanks to the kindness of a stranger. This chance encounter becomes the turning point for both Josh and the community. Martha invites Josh to dinner as a thank you, and their stories of struggle and resilience begin to intertwine. See how empathy and solidarity start to transform lives. Mr. Andrews, initially rigid and insensitive, begins to reflect on his actions and decides to give Josh more time to pay the rent. This simple gesture of compassion sets off a chain of events that reveals the true power of kindness. The community comes together in mutual support, organizing food drives, job fairs, and community services. Watch as small acts of generosity grow, creating a domino effect of kindness and unity. Experience the emotional journey of redemption, hope, and transformation that proves that together we can overcome any adversity. Don't miss this inspiring story that shows how empathy can change lives in unimaginable ways. Imagine a strict and impatient landlord determined to collect every penny of rent from his tenants. At the end of the month, he knocks on the door of Josh, a humble man who has always paid on time. "Where's the rent money, Josh? It's overdue since this morning," demands the landlord, Mr. Andrews, with a stern look. Josh, nervous, replies, "I'm sorry, Mr. Andrews, here's part of it, but I'm $150 short. Business has been really slow lately. Please, I just need a few more days to gather the rest." Mr. Andrews, insensitive to Josh's difficulties, cuts him off immediately. "I don't want to hear excuses. You have 24 hours. Otherwise, I'll file for eviction. Do you understand?" Josh, visibly shaken, tries to argue, but Mr. Andrews turns his back and leaves, leaving Josh desperate and unsure of what to do. The landlord's harshness sharply contrasts with Josh's vulnerability, creating palpable tension. As Mr. Andrews returns to his luxurious home, Josh remains in his modest apartment, worried about the future. He reflects on his years living there and how he has always paid the rent punctually. "I've been here for 20 years. I can't lose my home now. I have nowhere to go," he murmurs to himself. The reality of the situation begins to sink in, and he knows he needs to find a solution quickly. Meanwhile, at Josh's sister Martha's house, the struggles are also evident. Martha lost her job months ago and has been struggling to support herself and her daughter, Mickey. At night, while preparing dinner, Martha tries to hide her financial worries from her family, but it's hard to mask the reality. The table is set with a simple meal, and the normally cheerful atmosphere is heavy with unspoken concerns. Martha is determined not to let her financial situation ruin the family dinner. She wants to maintain normalcy and hope for her daughter. "I didn't want to have to tell anyone, but I don't know how much longer I can keep this hidden," she thinks. "Maybe I should have asked for help sooner." The weight of the secret she carries is almost unbearable, but she continues cooking, trying to find a way to keep her family united. Josh reminisces about times when business was better and he could pay all his bills effortlessly. He reflects on how quickly everything has changed and how powerless he feels in the face of circumstances. Sitting at his dining table with a simple meal, he wonders how he will manage to pay the remaining rent in such a short time. "How did I get to this point?" he asks himself, as he looks at the financial documents spread across the table. Martha, on the other side of town, is concerned about the dinner she is preparing for her family. She barely had money to buy the necessary ingredients. "I didn't want to have to tell anyone, but I don't know how much longer I can keep this hidden," she thinks. "Maybe I should have asked for help sooner." The feeling of shame and failure weighs on her, and she fears that her loved ones will see her differently. As Josh and Martha deal with their own crises, both are haunted by memories of easier and more prosperous times. Josh remembers the days when his small business was thriving, and he didn't have to worry about the rent. Martha recalls the happy times when she had a stable job and could provide for her daughter without difficulties. These memories make the current situation even harder to endure, but also offer a glimmer of hope that better days might return. That evening, Martha's family gathers for dinner. The table is set with a simple meal but made with love. Martha's daughter, Mickey, asks, "Mommy, I thought we couldn't afford to eat like this. What's happening?" Martha, trying to maintain composure, asks her daughter to just sit down and enjoy the meal. "Everything will be all right, dear," she says with a forced smile. But Mickey's concern alerts Martha's brother. "Is everything okay, Martha? Are you having money troubles?" Martha hesitates but knows she can no longer hide the truth. With a deep sigh, she confesses, "I lost my job a few months ago, and it's been really hard to find another one. I almost had to cancel this dinner because I didn't have enough money to buy the groceries." The revelation leaves everyone at the table silent, processing the gravity of the situation. As the family absorbs the news, Martha continues, "Today, when I went to buy groceries for dinner, I realized I didn't have enough money. I was about to put everything back when the store owner, a kind man, helped me and gave me the groceries for free. If it weren't for him, this dinner wouldn't have been possible." Martha's admission about the kindness of a stranger brings a feeling of relief and gratitude to the table. Everyone at the table sits in silence, shocked by Martha's revelation. She continues, "Today, when I went to buy groceries for dinner, I realized I didn't have enough money. I was about to put everything back when the store owner, a kind man, helped me and gave me the groceries for free. If it weren't for him, this dinner wouldn't have been possible." Martha's gratitude is evident, and the family begins to understand the depth of the situation. All eyes turn to Martha, filled with gratitude and surprise. "That's incredible, Martha. Who is this man? I'd like to shake his hand and thank him personally," says her brother, with an emotional smile. Martha smiles, knowing she did the right thing by accepting the help from a stranger. "Well, you can meet him because I invited him to dinner tonight as a thank you." At that moment, there's a knock at the door. Martha gets up and opens it, revealing the man who helped her. "Hi, please come in," she says with a warm smile. As he enters, the surprise is visible on everyone's faces. "This is Josh, the man who made this dinner possible," Martha announces. The revelation that the benefactor is someone also struggling to survive leaves everyone even more impressed with his act of generosity. What will happen when the kind stranger and the stern landlord meet? Can one person's generosity change the heart of another? Don't miss the next chapters of this emotional story. Subscribe to the channel, and may you be richly blessed. Josh enters Martha's home, warmly welcomed by the family. Everyone is curious to meet the man who showed such generosity. The table is laden with food, and Josh's eyes light up as he sees the gratitude on everyone's faces. Martha begins introducing Josh to the family, emphasizing how crucial he was in making that dinner possible. "Josh, I don't have words to thank you for what you've done for us," Martha says with tears in her eyes. "I didn't know how I was going to manage to put food on the table tonight. Your generosity really saved the day." Josh, humble, just nods, feeling grateful to be able to help even while in a difficult situation. During dinner, conversation flows easily. Martha shares more about her struggles since losing her job, and Josh talks about his own battles to keep the business running and pay the rent. The exchange of stories creates a bond among everyone, and Martha's gratitude for Josh grows even more, knowing he helped even while being in a vulnerable position. As everyone eats, Josh continues sharing his experiences. He talks about how, even when facing financial difficulties, he always tries to help others as much as he can. "I know how hard it is when you have nothing," he explains. "So whenever I can, I try to do something to help, even if it's small." Martha's family is impressed by Josh's generosity. "That's amazing, Josh. You're an inspiration to all of us," says Martha's brother, while the others nod in agreement. They discuss how small acts of kindness can have a significant impact on people's lives. Martha, touched by Josh's story, feels an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "I don't know how we can ever repay you, Josh, but know that you will always have a place at our table," she says. Josh's generosity not only brought food to the table that night, but also a new sense of hope and community for everyone present. Josh's presence at the dinner doesn't go unnoticed. His story and acts of kindness have a profound impact on everyone. Martha and her family begin to reflect on how they can make a difference in others' lives, even while facing their own difficulties. If Josh can help others even when he's going through tough times, we can too, Martha thinks. This new perspective leads Martha to consider ways to give back to the community. She starts thinking about organizing food drives and other initiatives to help those in need. Josh's generosity sparks a flame of empathy and action in the family, who are determined to make a difference. Meanwhile, Josh feels more connected and valued. He realizes that his kindness had a real and positive impact. Never underestimate the power of an act of kindness, he tells himself, feeling grateful for having made a difference. This mutual empathy and desire to help turn the dinner into a memorable and inspiring event. As Josh enjoys dinner with Martha's family, Mr. Andrews, the landlord, is at home reflecting on his actions. He recalls the harsh words he said to Josh and starts to wonder if he was being fair. Was I too harsh on him? Mr. Andrews thinks. He begins to realize that perhaps he was too quick to judge and demand. The image of Josh, desperate and pleading for more time to pay the rent, lingers in his mind. Mr. Andrews starts to remember times when he himself faced financial difficulties. I've been through tough times too. Maybe I should show a bit more compassion, he reflects, feeling increasingly remorseful for his actions. With these thoughts weighing on his mind, Mr. Andrews decides he needs to do something to correct his mistake. He doesn't want to be remembered as a cold and insensitive man. Tomorrow, I'll speak with Josh and see how I can help, he decides, determined to show that there is still kindness in his heart. The next morning, Mr. Andrews wakes up with renewed determination. He knows he needs to rectify the situation with Josh and show that he can be a fair and understanding landlord. With this in mind, he goes to Josh's apartment, hoping to find a way to make amends. When he arrives, Mr. Andrews knocks on the door and waits. When Josh opens the door, he is surprised to see his landlord. Mr. Andrews, what brings you here so early? Josh asks, a bit nervously. Mr. Andrews, with a softer look than usual, responds, Josh, I've been thinking about what happened yesterday. I want to apologize for my attitude. I realized I was too harsh with you. Josh is surprised and relieved to hear Mr. Andrews' words. Thank you, Mr. Andrews. That means a lot to me, Josh says, feeling a wave of relief. Mr. Andrews continues, I've decided to give you more time to pay the rent. We all face difficulties, and I think we need to help each other. Mr. Andrews' change of heart not only eases Josh's situation, but also strengthens the bond between them. Do you believe that generosity and empathy can truly transform lives? Don't miss the next chapters of this emotional story. Like to support the channel and keep following along. Mr. Andrews' decision to give Josh more time to pay the rent brought a new breath of hope to him. Josh began to feel more relieved and confident that he could overcome his difficulties. He immediately started working harder to make up for lost time and find ways to increase his earnings. At the same time, Josh did not forget Martha's words and how generosity can change lives. He decided to continue helping others in any way he could, regardless of his own struggles. This inspired him to become more involved in the community, participating in events and offering help to those in need. Mr. Andrews, on the other hand, also began to change. He reflected on his actions and decided that he needed to be more understanding with all his tenants. He realized that it wasn't just about money, but about building a strong and supportive community. This new perspective helped him see the value in empathy and generosity. With Mr. Andrews' new attitude and Josh's renewed spirit, the community began to flourish. People started to come together more, helping each other and creating a supportive environment. Community events became frequent, and solidarity became the heart of the neighborhood. Inspired by Josh and Mr. Andrews' transformation, Martha organized a food drive to help those who were going through hardships. The event was a success, with many donations and volunteers participating. The community realized that together, they could overcome any adversity. Generosity and compassion spread like wildfire throughout the community. Neighbors who had previously been strangers began to get to know each other and help one another. Small acts of kindness became common, and solidarity became a powerful force that united everyone. Mr. Andrews continued to reflect on his actions and sought ways to redeem himself. He started to actively participate in community events, offering not just financial support, but also his time and effort. His constant presence and willingness to help began to change the perception everyone had of him. He realized that there was more satisfaction in helping others than in accumulating wealth. This change of heart was evident to everyone, and Mr. Andrews began to earn the respect and gratitude of his tenants and neighbors. He became an example of how it's never too late to change and make a difference. Josh, seeing Mr. Andrews' transformation, felt even more inspired. He approached Mr. Andrews and expressed his gratitude. "Thank you for giving me this chance, Mr. Andrews. Your change of attitude made all the difference," Josh said. Mr. Andrews, with a sincere smile, replied, "Generosity is contagious, Josh. I learned that from you." One day, while walking through the neighborhood, Josh encountered a young mother struggling to carry shopping bags and care for her small child. Without hesitation, he approached and offered help. The woman, surprised and grateful, accepted Josh's offer. "Thank you so much. I really needed help," she said, with a relieved smile. As they walked together to her home, Josh shared a bit of his story and how the community had come together to help each other. The woman, touched by Josh's generosity, revealed that she was going through financial difficulties and that the simple act of help meant a lot to her. This encounter further strengthened Josh's belief in the power of kindness. He realized that even small acts can have a big impact on someone's life. Never underestimate the power of a simple act of kindness, Josh thought, feeling grateful to be able to help even in a small way. Over time, the community continued to strengthen. Generosity and empathy became essential pillars, and everyone benefited from this new culture of mutual support. Josh managed to stabilize his financial situation, thanks to the help of the community and his own determination. Martha, in turn, found a new job that allowed her to support her family more securely. She continued to organize community events and inspire others to help. Martha's transformation was a living example of how compassion can rebuild lives and create an environment of hope and solidarity. Mr. Andrews, now fully redeemed, became a respected community leader. He continued to support his tenants and neighbors, ensuring that everyone had the necessary opportunities to thrive. His journey of redemption showed that change is possible and that empathy can transform not just individuals, but entire communities. What other surprising transformations will occur on this journey of generosity and empathy? Don't miss the upcoming chapters of this inspiring story. If you've enjoyed it so far, subscribe to the channel to stay updated. The new culture of empathy and solidarity in the neighborhood began to attract attention from other areas. People from neighboring communities were curious about how the transformation had happened. Mr. Andrews and Josh decided it was time to expand their initiatives and create partnerships with other community leaders. They organized a meeting with local business people, NGO leaders, and other influential community members. The idea was to share their experiences and discuss ways to replicate the success in other areas. "If we can do this here, we can do it anywhere," Josh said, encouraging everyone to get involved. The meeting was a success, and many unlikely partnerships were formed. Business people promised resources, NGOs offered their support, and volunteers signed up to help. This collaboration created an even stronger support network, capable of reaching and impacting many more lives. With the new partnerships, the community began to organize larger and more frequent events. One of the largest events was a job and community services fair, where people could get legal assistance, health services, and job opportunities all in one place. The fair attracted hundreds of people and became a symbol of the power of unity. Mr. Andrews, Josh, and Martha were at the forefront of the organization. They worked tirelessly to ensure the event was a success. "I never imagined we could do something so big," Martha said, amazed by the number of people who attended. "This is just the beginning," replied Mr. Andrews, filled with hope for the future. The results were impressive. Many people found jobs, accessed essential services, and discovered a new sense of community. The strength of unity demonstrated that when everyone works together, it's possible to overcome any obstacle. The fair became an annual event, continually growing and impacting more lives with each edition. Despite all the success, the community faced challenges. There were always new problems to solve and obstacles to overcome. However, The difference now was the collective mindset of not giving up. Each challenge was seen as an opportunity to learn and grow. One of the biggest challenges came when a severe storm hit the area, causing significant damage to homes and infrastructure. Instead of becoming disheartened, the community came together even more. Josh and Mr. Andrews led the rebuilding efforts, organizing volunteers and resources to help those most affected. The storm, instead of dividing the community, strengthened it. Everyone worked together, demonstrating that unity and solidarity can overcome any adversity. The challenges were many, but the community's determination to support each other never wavered. As time went on, the transformation of the community continued to inspire other areas. News of the community's success spread, and many others began to adopt similar practices. The impact of generosity and empathy became evident, showing that small acts of kindness can lead to significant changes. Josh, Martha, and Mr. Andrews were invited to speak at various conferences and events, sharing their experiences and inspiring others to follow the same path. Each event was an opportunity to spread the message of hope and solidarity. "If we can do this, anyone can," Josh would say in his speeches, motivating others to take action. The renewed hope was not only local but spread to many communities. People began to believe that positive changes were possible and that empathy could transform their own lives. The journey that began with small acts of kindness grew into a powerful movement of transformation and hope. The future looked bright for the community, transformed by empathy and solidarity. Mr. Andrews, Josh, and Martha continued to work tirelessly to keep the spirit of unity alive. They knew that the journey never ended and that there would always be new people to help and new opportunities to grow. Community events continued to thrive, and each year brought new initiatives and more success. The community became a model for other areas, showing that with empathy and generosity, any place can be transformed. Mr. Andrews, who started as a strict landlord, was now seen as a compassionate and inspiring leader. Josh, who faced so many difficulties, was now in a position of strength and inspiration. He continued to help others, showing that generosity does not depend on how much you have, but on how much you are willing to give. Martha, always the heart of the community, continued to organize events and inspire everyone around her. Together, they built a bright future for all. What other surprising transformations will happen on this journey of generosity and empathy? Keep watching the other videos on the channel and be inspired by more exciting and transformative stories. Over the years, Josh, Martha, and Mr. Andrews would frequently meet to reflect on their journey. They recalled how it all began with a simple act of kindness that triggered a series of transformative events. "Do you remember when everything seemed impossible?" Martha would say, laughing. "And now look where we are." These moments of reflection were not only nostalgic, but also served as important reminders of how compassion can change lives. They discussed the challenges they had overcome together and how the community's unity was crucial to each victory. "Never underestimate the power of a simple act of kindness," Josh would repeat, reaffirming the lesson they had all learned. Mr. Andrews, now a respected and beloved figure in the community, always used these meetings to thank Josh and Martha for their inspiration and support. "You two have taught me the true meaning of generosity and empathy," he would say, with sincere gratitude. "And for that, I will be eternally grateful." Excited by the success of their past actions, the trio began planning new initiatives to continue helping the community. They knew there would always be people in need and were determined to expand their efforts. "Let's start a mentoring program for youth," suggested Martha. "We can help them develop skills and find job opportunities." Josh proposed creating a community emergency fund so that anyone facing financial difficulties could receive help quickly. Mr. Andrews, for his part, wanted to invest in education by offering scholarships to promising students in the community. "Education is the key to a better future," he said. "Let's make sure no one is prevented from studying due to lack of resources." With these ambitious plans, they began mobilizing resources and volunteers. The community, already accustomed to working together, embraced the new initiatives with enthusiasm. Everyone wanted to contribute to the success of the programs, knowing that together they could make an even greater difference. The new initiatives quickly began to show results. The youth mentoring program helped many find jobs and pursue promising careers. "I never would have made it without your help," said one of the youths, expressing his gratitude. The Community Emergency Fund saved many families from financial crises, offering vital relief during the most difficult times. The scholarships allowed many students to fulfill their dreams of attending university. "This is just the beginning," Mr. Andrews said while handing out one of the scholarships. "We are investing in the future of our community." The impact of Josh, Martha, and Mr. Andrews' actions extended far beyond the neighborhood, inspiring other communities to follow the same path. The community was now a shining example of how empathy and generosity can transform lives. Stories of success and transformation were told and retold, inspiring more and more people to act with kindness. "Every small act of kindness counts," Josh would say. "Together, we can change the world." The tireless work of Josh, Martha, and Mr. Andrews did not go unnoticed. They began receiving recognition for their contributions to the community. Mr. Andrews was honored as Citizen of the Year by the City Council, an award he accepted with humility and gratitude. "This award is not just mine," he said in his speech. "It belongs to all of us who believe in the power of generosity and unity." Martha was invited to speak at conferences about community empowerment, where she shared her experiences and inspired others to take action. "Never underestimate the impact you can have," she would say in her talks. "Every act of kindness can be the seed of a great change." Her words resonated deeply, inspiring many to follow her example. Josh was also widely recognized for his crucial role in the community's transformation. He was featured in various articles and TV programs, where he shared his story and encouraged others to persevere, even in the toughest times. "Generosity and empathy are not just words," he would say. "They are actions we can take every day." As the years passed, the legacy of Josh, Martha, and Mr. Andrews continued to grow. The community, once marked by hardship and despair, was now a beacon of hope and solidarity. New generations were growing up learning the value of empathy and generosity, perpetuating the cycle of kindness that Josh had started. Josh, Martha, and Mr. Andrews would often meet to discuss the future and ensure that the flame of generosity never dimmed. They knew there was still much to be done, but were confident that the community was in good hands. "What we started here is just the beginning," Josh would say. "The impact of empathy is infinite." Mr. Andrews, reflecting on his own transformation, felt deep gratitude for having had the chance to make a difference. "I never thought my life would take this turn," he said, "but I'm glad it did. Generosity truly transforms lives, including mine." This inspiring story is just one of many we have to share. Keep watching the other videos on the channel, and let yourself be moved by more stories of transformation and empathy.